Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige, this is Seeking Alexandria, and you guys, I'm excited because this is the final palette of the Jaclyn Hill Morphe Vault Collection. This is the Armed and Gorgeous palette. We are going to dive in, look at swatches, and at the very end of this video, I'm going to kind of wrap up my thoughts on this whole line, give you guys what I think, and if you have not watched all of the videos, be ready for some links, because first up we did the Dark Magic palette, which I will of course have linked there, and then after that, a couple days later, I told you guys I was breaking these down into parts per week, so you got 2 last week and 2 this week. So later on that week you had the, I believe it was Bling Boss, and I will link that right up here. And then a couple days ago you had Ring the Alarm, which I will link right here. Now those are 3 separate dedicated videos. I took each video per your guys' request, broke down each palette, did swatches, did an eye look, and gave you my full in-depth thoughts on these. So a couple of you guys have been asking me what my batch number was, or what my number on the palette I guess is. The number I have on the palette is AB070, and do I have the box still? I don't know if there's anything on the box or not. I don't think so. Yeah, there's nothing on the box that I can see on like the big Vault box. So the only thing that I'm seeing is on the back of the palette in tiny little faded print. It says AB070. And I know that a lot of you were asking this, or maybe it's a D, AB07D perhaps. But a lot of you guys were asking because they were saying there was inconsistencies with batch numbers and that sort of thing. So I didn't want to forget to tell you guys, if you were curious, that is what it says on the back of my palettes. So let's go ahead. We're just going to dive into today's The Armed and Gorgeous palette. We're going to play with these. And if you are unfamiliar, or you have been living under a rock, or you did not watch my other 3 videos, these retail for $15 a piece. You can buy them from Morphe or from Ulta. If you do purchase it from the Morphe website though, you can use one of several influencer codes and it will save you, what, 10% or something like that. So you can get these for under $15, a very reasonable price point. There are 10 pans and they are all 0.56 ounces a piece. Oh my god, you guys, what a tongue twister. And this is the Armed and Gorgeous palette. And you guys, I would be lying if I told you that I was not like very excited for this palette. I know it's kind of a basic bitch palette, like yes, 100%, yes it is. But I feel like I have a connection with these colors, because here's the thing. So let me just break this shit down for you. Today in northern Michigan, it is 69 degrees. Now, to so many of you that might not seem like much, but although it is only one day that does say a high of 69 degrees, I am left with so much happiness in my soul, because I know that fall is on its way. Fall is coming. Fall will be here soon. And like, I busted out like this cute little thin ass, like thin little sweater thing from Maurice's. And I'm just like, I'm so obsessed. I'm going to do a full pan of it on my vlog this coming Monday. So in a few days after you see this. So if you're curious about this, I'll put it in the vlog. So anyways, I look at this palette and I look at these swatches and I think fall. I think pumpkins. I love fall, and I'm so excited. So the fact that today, the first 69 degree day, the first day in the 60s, happens to fall on the same day I filmed this palette, like, it just warms my soul, because I'm so excited for fall. So let's go ahead. We're going to dive into the swatches first, and we're just going to go from there. We're going to put them on our eyes, and you guys know the drill by now, and if you don't, girl, you should. So these first 2 shades you have already seen in the previous video, but we have VIP and Access. Then we have Guilt Trip, Coin, which is so beautiful, Agent, Top Secret, which is a beautiful matte green, Smooth Criminal, Secure, Prowl, and Classified. So that is the entire super, super sexy palette that reminds me of pumpkins and Jesus. I love it so much. And of course, like I said before, VIP and Access, these first 2 shades, you have already seen those in my previous video for Ring the Alarm. Yes, the Ring the Alarm video that I just put up a couple days ago. I used those to blend and as like an inner eye and a brow bone highlight, that kind of thing. So you have seen those perform. They were nice, but I didn't touch anything else because I wanted my first experience, especially with these palettes, because the release of these palettes has been so just like tumultuous, it's not even funny, and I'm very excited to dive into this, do it on camera, and just hang out with you guys. So I need to start by priming. Oh man, oh boy, Paige, you need to get your shit together. I need to clean off this vanity. That's what I need to do. Oh shit. Now, to prime today, I am going to be going in with my P. Louise base, and I actually, fun fact, I was going to switch up and use a different primer today, but I figured I would keep it consistent for this one last video, just so that we know that all of these palettes were used kind of in the same way, with the same primer, so on and so forth. So I do use this in the shade 0, which is an all-white base, so if it looks a little bit crazy or a little bit stark, that's why. It's just, I picked up the really light shade, but on my eye and on my skin tone, it actually ends up working pretty well. So anyways, you can use whatever base you're used to using, but this is just the one I've been, you know, using, testing, and having a good time with. So when I use this base, I do use it wet. So as of right now, it is not set, nothing is on top of it. And I'm going to start off by going in with the shade Smooth Criminal. Now, the way that I apply these, because my base is wet, when I'm first going in with like the first couple of passes or the first pigments or however you want to put that, I do go in with my finger, I smooth it back out because my eyelids crease literally immediately. And then I go in with my brush. This is a Morphe G13 brush, but any like more of a, I don't want to say flat, but like a packy style, a little bit more of a dense brush. And I go in and I stamp this. That way I'm not immediately picking up the primer, I'm not moving anything around. And I stamp it down first before I start to swipe. And not only does doing it this way not move around the base underneath, it also allows you to get a really nice maximum payoff from this shade, because you are packing it down in such a way that the color is going to be nice and saturated, which is exactly what we're going for. This is, if this goes bad, this is going to go so bad so fast. Okay, so now that we have this area good and saturated with some brown, I'm going to grab my Tapered Blending Sigma E40 brush, and I'm going to go in with the shade Secure, and I'm going to place this color right on the edge of that brown and then use it to diffuse it. So only half the color is going into the crease, the other half is actually sitting directly on the brown to blend out that edge. Y'all know I love me a good blend. Yes, these are actually blending really beautifully together. And this is where some people might report that their hand falls off. That's all right, because girl, you got to get that blend on. Yes, queen. All right, and now that we are good and blended and fresh, we are going to go in with the shade Access, and we are yet again going to blend out that orange even farther up into the brow bone. And I'm taking this on a Sigma Diffused Crease brush, which is an E38. That's a great name for a crease brush. And we're going to, again, same technique we did before, place this color. You can kind of see my brush, how I place it half on the orange and half above the orange, and then that's how you diffuse that line. By not putting all the color above, and you don't want to put all the color on the orange. You want to make sure that it's half and half, and then blend. And in just a couple of strokes, you can see how it already works to kind of diffuse that line and make everything look really blended. And that's a trick that I had to learn the hard way, by always blending in the wrong spot and not understanding why in the hell it looked like craziness. Just as a side note, you guys, so far this is really nice and blendable, and I have no fallout, which is nice. Everything's looking really good so far. And it's blending out really quickly. Ooh, yes, girl. Good and fresh. I'm loving this. Okay. Oh, okay. And now if you do notice, like there's a couple areas in here that I'm a little bit like I might want to build up that orange and make it a little bit more potent later on. But for right now, I am good. So we're going to move on to all over the lid. Oh, I'm so excited. For this part, I moved you guys in just a little bit farther because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing, like even a little bit better, because I've never done this before. So if it goes bad, like you're going to see it on camera. So next up, we're going to grab the Absolute Shadow Brush from IT Cosmetics. It's like a flat brush, but you can see that it's got a little bit of something to it, a little bit of ass, but not too much. And I'm going to take this very nervously and dip it into the shade Top Secret, which is the matte green shade, and that shade is going all over the lid, and we're just gonna pat that down. Wow, that shade is freaking fantastic. I love that shade. And we're just kind of covering that all the way up to where we put the brown. I had like almost complete opacity in one go with that color. That's so pretty. Okay, so next up, I'm going to take the shade Coin because I feel like Guilt Trip is the obvious choice and I don't want to be obvious for this one. So we're taking the shade Coin, which just to compare the two side by side, this is Coin and it has a little bit more of a green kind of undertone to it, whereas this one has more of that true gold tint. So I'm going to take the shade Coin, which is this one right here, and I am very lightly going to just tap it. Oh my God, literally nothing on my finger, nothing on my eye, nothing. What? And that was the tiniest amount. Oh my God, that shade is kind of life-changing. But I'm just taking this and I'm just going to tap it over that green section. And I'm keeping it relatively low, like I'm not going up too high with it. And I'm just moving it from side to side. Again, I have not dipped back in. This is just me spreading out that tiny amount of product. And it looks so good. Oh my God. Like a little bit of that shade goes such a long way. And one of you did put in the comments as well that you do not use your fingers, so some of my the ways that I do things, they wouldn't work for you. And if that's the case, just so you know, I use my fingers because that's what's easiest for me. But if you don't like to use your fingers or for whatever reason you can't or it's not comfortable, that's totally fine. Go in typically for this portion with more of a flat shader brush. Anything that is, let me see here. This is a Morphe M167. You can see that it's nice and short and flat. That's the main thing you're going for anytime, like for me, that I apply anything in this area. I would go in with a brush like this, and then to diffuse it around, like when I pat my finger, I would go in with a more dense, fluffy type brush and kind of diffuse it that way. If using your hand isn't comfortable for you, that's what I would do. But now that I have that on the eyes, which looks so good, I'm going to go back in with that same IT Cosmetics shadow brush that I used before to pack it all over the lid. And I'm going to take that green shade, Top Secret, and I am just going to add back in a little bit of that green on the sides, like both inner and outer corners. Oh my God, that's so pretty. And now I'm going to go in with the shade Secure again on that Sigma E38 brush, and I'm going to run that right in this area, which is almost right over top of the brown that we first applied in the crease. And I'm doing that just to blend the brown with the green and the orange, and this color just kind of marries everything together. And I'm actually really impressed that these colors are not looking muddy, given that they're very like army, they're kind of that camo effect. And a lot of times colors like that can go on and start to appear very muddy very quickly. And these are really holding their own and looking very nice when they're all blended. So next up, I'm going to take this semi-fluffy IT Cosmetics brush. This is so old it doesn't even have like a name or anything on it. This is one of my very first makeup brushes, fun fact. And I'm going to grab the shade Prowl, and I'm going to take this really dark shade, this brown dark shade, and I'm going to stamp it on the outer V and kind of swoosh it up a little bit, but not too far, just to deepen up the inner and outer corners, give them a little bit more definition before I move on. Just a tiny, tiny bit on that inner eye. Wow, okay. Now we're going to go back in with the shade Access, the yellow shade, on the Sigma E40, and we are going to blend that one last time up, similar to where we blended it before, just right on top of that orange, just to keep everything good and diffused and give it one last blend before we do the highlight. And you guys, I'm so impressed with how blended this looks and how good it looks. Like, whew, okay, I'm starting to be a little less nervous. Now I am going to grab this Sigma E55 shading brush, and it's a little bit thicker, but this is what I'm going to take. I'm going to grab the shade VIP, which is going to be my brow bone highlight, and I'm going to run this right up under the brow bone. But I picked a bigger, fluffier brush because I'm actually going to run it more along the edge like I just did there, and then kind of pull down. And then we're going to fade that again because I'm just extra and I love to have 100 steps apparently when it comes to blending. So we're going to go back in with the Sigma E40 brush, and we're going to, there's no additional product, we're just going to blend. And now we're going to grab a little shade Access, a tiny bit of that yellow, and blend that up into that brow bone shade, just to really blend and marry the two together. Now, this step is completely optional. I love it because I love like blending my last shadow with that brow bone because I just love that fade. But if you're not into that, you can just pop your brow bone shade in there and just, you know, continue on your way. Don't feel like you have to do all of these steps because, quite frankly, you don't have to. Like, I just do it because girl loves to blend. One of the last things I like to do when I'm done with an eye look is take my wipe that I always have laying around because I swatch everything and make my hands impossibly filthy, is I like to take this and I pull up right there on the corner just ever so slightly, just to redefine that outer V. And at this time, it really is easy to see if there's anything you need to add or improve on, or if that looks good, you know. Now, the only thing that I'm noticing while I'm looking at everything, and I'm kind of, I think I zoomed you guys out just a tiny, tiny bit, and I've kind of got all these different mirrors going. The only thing I would critique about this look right now is that I'm not getting the right amount of lift that I really like to have on my outer V right there. And that happens primarily for me in this region. So when I'm looking straight ahead, I like this area to be nice and defined and like darkened, so I can really give myself that like snatchified look that I really need to give myself an eye look, because like your girl has got some hooded ass eyes. So I think how I'm gonna do this is I'm just gonna deepen up that area just a tiny bit, and I'm gonna grab my Sigma E38 brush, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Prowl, which is the deepest matte brown in this palette right here, in this thing that I'm using, you know. And I'm going to place this right there. I'm not gonna go crazy with it. I'm literally tapping it down and blending it out in like the tiniest little motions. I don't want it to be too much. I don't want to overkill it. I don't want to deepen up and pull it through the whole crease. I just want to work on deepening up that little area right there. And then if you feel like you have a little bit of an edge, which I can see right there just a tiny bit, I'm going to take this plain, there's nothing on this. This is the Sigma E40. And I'm just going to run it along that area right there. Again, no product. I'm just blending and diffusing that color. And I think that that gave me exactly what I was looking for. It's really difficult because I feel like, yet again, I tell you guys all the time, and I 100% mean it with my whole heart. If you are doing any kind of an eye tutorial, you're following someone's look, you want to recreate it, it is so important that you not only follow the steps that I give you, but that you look at your own eye shape and that you apply what I do and the tips and tricks and things that I say, but you have to apply them to your eye shape. There's nothing wrong if at the end of following my tutorial, if it doesn't look right on you. That just means you have a different eye shape, or maybe they're slanted differently, or maybe they're more hooded, maybe they're inset, outset. Like there's just so many different variances to our eyes that it is totally okay if when you're done with this, or even as you're looking at it right now, you're like, ooh, I don't know if that would work on my eye. This is how I would change it. That's the area of your brain that you really want to tap into. Anytime you watch anybody, me or anybody, do any sort of an eye look, is that you have to tap into the space where you realize that, you know what? I love it. I love the concept. Now I'm going to make that work for me. It's the same with everything in life, but I feel like in the beauty community, no one talks about it enough. We all just put makeup on our face and act like everybody can do the same look or has the same whatever, and that's not always the case. So with that being said, I'm going to run along and do this eye off of camera, and I will be right back. Okay, you guys, I got everything on my face. I know it's a little different. I did go in with, I believe these are the Mykonos, something like that, from Lily Lashes, and I just threw them on. I found them scattered about over on my side table, and I was like, those look nice and dramatic. Thank you. And so let me run through all the products that are on my face. Actually, I don't need to. You know what, you guys? If you didn't watch yesterday's video, I will link it right up here. I did my Less is More makeup, and I actually used pretty much all the same products. The only thing I did different is I applied a little bit more concealer just to, you know, because this is more of a full glam. But other than that, everything is the same. I went in with my powder foundation from MAC. I went in with all the same like face shaping, blush, all that is the same. So go check that video out for all of this and how to do it like how I do it. My preferred way of getting this skin lately, because it just looks so nice and flattering on my face lately. I've been loving it, and it's also been really helping my skin breathe a lot, which is good. Like throughout the day, I feel like my skin isn't as irritated, it's not as upset. By the end of the day, my face isn't itching as bad, which is good. So I still love my liquid foundation, but right now I'm kind of going through a phase. So let's go ahead, let's talk about hello, how cute this eye look turned out. You guys, I really love this palette. So let's talk overall about this palette. Number one, the mattes blended so beautifully. Number one. Number two, this eye look, if you would have just left it all matte right after I put the matte green over the entire lid, stop before you add the shimmer, I think that would look just beautiful too. Like when I was doing this eye, I stopped after I did the matte green, and I was just kind of like taken back by how rich and sexy and blendable those colors were. Oh my God, like so beautiful. Side note, can you hear the road construction going on right now? Like right outside my window. We had huge storms last night, like huge, like there were tornadoes. tornado, that type of storm, which might be insignificant for most people, but where we live, that's a big deal. So if you hear random noises throughout this video, that is why. But overall, the mattes on this palette, I'm just gonna like segue in and out apparently. The mattes blended beautiful. The shimmers had so much saturated pigment. They blended beautifully. I love this palette. And I used, I mean, what, over half the shades? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I used 7 or 8 out of the 10 shades in this palette, and it is so, it's just perfect. Like, I have nothing negative to say about this palette other than the fact that it is very similar to other palettes we've seen recently. But other than that, I don't care. Like, I'm so impressed. Now, let's talk about this palette compared with the other 3 palettes. This one by far, and the Ring the Alarm, I think worked the best. I think the pigmentation was the most consistent, the most blendable, the most saturated, and just overall the best quality. So if I had to recommend 2 palettes, unfortunately it would be those 2. And I say unfortunately because I feel like these are the 2 palettes that, like, everyone has very similar colors. Everyone has very similar this or that already to these collections. So that part of it for me is where I have to draw the line between what's practical, what do you guys need versus what's a want. If you're wanting them just because they're part of her collection and you're a big supporter, a follower, whatever, that's totally fine and understandable. You do you. But as far as like from a makeup perspective, I don't think you need them because I think that quite frankly, if you are any type of a makeup enthusiast, you already have these. Now on the flip side, if you don't have anything like these, they would be great day to night palettes. They would be great everyday palettes. These 2 palettes would be perfect for just everyday living. Nothing crazy, nothing exciting. Hey, I just need something I can throw on that's going to blend and look good. I think these palettes would actually do you well, assuming that you get ones that are good quality. Because right now, what's crazy to me is that when I put up my Ring the Alarm video, so many of you said like, oh, my Ring the Alarm was garbage, but my Bling Boss was really good. And for me, it was the complete opposite. So I hate even recommending these at all right now because quite frankly, like, I don't know what quality people are getting because some people are getting good and some people are getting not good. So that's that. Now, between the Dark Magic and the Bling Boss, those were the first 2 that I reviewed. Those were the first 2 that I had so many problems with. I would have to say my least favorite palette is probably Bling Boss, just because the purples in there were so much patchier than A, the Dark Magic, and B, they were just patchier than what I expected them to be in general. The shimmers were so pressed and hard and like concrete in that pan that for me, there was just no way to work with them to make them look good, to make them look like they were beautiful. Like, whereas the one in this palette, what was this shade that I used? Coin. When I literally had hardly any of that and I started just tapping it onto the center of my lid, there was so much shimmery pigment, beautiful, sexy color. And then in the other palette, I had to like dig my finger in that pan. And it was so just, I mean, it was like digging into this box. Like there was just no, you couldn't get anything off of it. And for me, that's like the most frustrating thing. It is so not worth it. I did not enjoy those 2 palettes. I will work with them to see what shades, if any, I can make work for me. Because obviously, like, I bought them, so I'm going to try and find a use for them. But as for me, I think the Ring the Alarm and this one, the Armed and Gorgeous palette, I think those are the only 2 worth any money from the collection. And I hate to say it because when she first launched this, you guys, I remember laying in bed. I didn't feel good that night. And I remember laying in bed being so excited because as she's talking about it, as she's going through it, she's showing us like, oh, this one has predominantly greens, this one has predominantly purple, this one has, and my mind was just like exploding over this beautiful box of like colors and pigments and 40 shadows that are beautiful and individualized and organized and just so sexy. And then to get to this point where it's months later, there's all these conspiracies over did they really replace them or not. There's all of these negative things now that are surrounding this beautiful launch that honestly, I feel bad. I feel bad for her that whether or not she had any control, whether or not she put her name on it, that's all whatever. But I feel bad because you know how excited anyone would be to have this launch, to have this experience, to have this moment. And so for them to come out and be tainted or for there to be issues or for customers not to be this satisfied, like this is a lot. And I feel kind of sad about it. And I don't know. It bums me out. I don't know how you guys feel about it. You guys haven't been shy down in the comments. So now that we have rounded out all 4, I would like you guys to leave me 2 pieces of information down in the comments. Number 1, what was your favorite palette over the entire line or whatever you picked up or whatever you didn't pick up but you were looking at? Like, what were your favorite palettes or moments out of that? And number 2, I just want to know, like, what was your favorite eye look that I did? This one or one of the other 3? I mean, no pressure, but like, I think that they all kind of turned out really good. But see, that's the thing. Like, I can see see a notable difference. I think the first two turned out really beautiful, but then as I go back and I look at this one and the Ring the Alarm, I'm just like, damn, those were so pretty though. And like this one, I did the most like avant-garde, not avant-garde, I did the most different type of look I've ever done. Like I've never put down a matte shadow all over and then put a shimmer on top, which by the way, I will be doing again because it looks so beautiful and perfect and amazing. So anyways, you guys, leave me all of your thoughts on this collection down below. And just as a spoiler alert to those of you that are curious, I did pick up the Jaclyn Hill brush set that they launched a couple days ago, yesterday. I'm not sure when this goes up, but I did pick up that brush set, the Master Collection. So we will be sitting down and talking about that at some point. I'm not sure how. You can leave down in the comments how you'd like me to do that. I can get it and we can just do a full face using the brush collection if that sounds good to you guys. Whatever sounds good, but I just want you guys to know I did pick that up because I want to pit her brush collection against their other brushes and what I already know from them, and if there's any inconsistencies, if they made her formula better than another formula. Like there's so many things that I just want to know about it. So I did grab that, so be on the lookout for that video as well. The only thing that I did want to tell you is what is on my lips right now. This is a ColourPop Lippy Sticks, and this is in the shade Can't Wait, and this is part of their Matte X formula. Now I do not love, as of late, matte formulas. I've not been a fan. They're driving me nuts. But their ColourPop Matte X formula is so, like, I'm barely holding this pencil, or I don't even know what you'd call this thing, but I'm barely holding it, and like, look at the color. You get such, I just like trailed that right into my shirt, but you get such an amazing color payoff from these. It's, oh, did I even swatch that? It's so beautiful and amazing, and like this color is so great. This formula is so silky and sexy, and it stays and looks so beautiful on my lips throughout the day. Like, I'm just so impressed with it. And the shade Can't Wait is by far one of my favorite colors because I don't typically go like warm tone, cool tone, and like I never typically go this dark in the lip, but I thought that the colors I worked into the crease just matched and pulled this lip so perfectly. I'm obsessed. Now you guys, that is it for this video, but please don't forget, go down to the comments and leave all the thoughts down there, everything. I don't care what it is. Just leave it down there and be like, hey girl, I love you. And I'll be like, hey, what's up? And just leave everything down there. And then just north of that, you will find this thing, description box, expand that, and you'll see my Instagram, my Twitter, all of the places you can follow me on all my other socials. I'm mainly on Instagram and Twitter these days, but like, that's all right. We can work with it. I do all kinds of crazy stuff. And you guys lately, can I just say, side note, real quick, you guys have been shouting me out all over the place. I'm getting tagged like on Twitter, on Instagram, just everywhere, like, hey, whoever you're talking to, like, you should check out this girl, me. And you don't even know how much I smile. While I was filming this, I actually got another notification that was like, hey, you know, you should check this girl out. She's really good, da, da, da. And I just want you guys to know how much I appreciate that, because it genuinely means so much to me to have people out there, and you're like real people, you know, you're not just like bots, you're not just paid advertisers, you're not paid this, you're none of that. Like, you are just genuine people that actually like me, and you show up for me and my personality and the way that I am, and I appreciate that more than you could know. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please do not forget to have a great day, night, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. I am armed and gorgeous with my pretty blended eyes. Oh my god, they are so dramatic and like so fun. And it's the last day of Jaclyn Hill Vault collection. Tell me what you think down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Because I'm armed and gorgeous. And I'm also obnoxious. Alright, get this party started. What's going on here? Let's move you in. Hey girl, check baby, 1, 2, 3. Gotta check my lights and I gotta be with me. Oh my god, I'm such a rapper. Oh my god, okay. Can you see all my Doritos? Thought I would give you a Vulcan death grip. Vulcan death grip. Vulcan death grip. Ready? Okay. So I put my hands up, singing my song. The butterflies fly away. Bobbing my head like yeah, moving my hips like yeah. And again, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And nope, please do not forget to what am I even trying to say? Now you guys, that is it for this video. Please don't forget to go down to the okay, you guys, this is why, what was the problem there, Paige? I don't know. And one of the last things I like to do now I'm laughing, damn it.